हरिः कर्ता।
Let's look into the pivot table concept. So here we have the uh, data frame, and on other side, so we will take one method, and when we specifically target uh, certain values, and that values with the respective method, we can make it as a pivot. So it's similar to the Excel sheet. An Excel spreadsheet, how do we take the pivot, and the same concept can be applied here also. So let's do one example for the pivot so that it will be much clear. So what example we're going to do is, I want the mean concentrations for NO2 and PM 2.5 in each of the stations in table form. So what I want is, so for example, if you take this series, so where this consists of two categories, one is NO2 category, you can see that's red, yellow and green, and you have another category which is yellow and pink. You have another category that's yellow, oh yeah, and black and yellow, so black and green. So total three categories we want. Out of that, we want concentrations of NO2 and PM 2.5 of these two categories, concentrations for each locations. You have two locations here, you see that. For example, if this is two locations, so location 1 and location 2 will be here, and now we will have the NO2 NO2 and PM 2.5 we will be here, and then here we will have the concentrations of that. That's what is pivot. That's what is called pivot table. So pivot table is specifically targeting a categories in the series or column. So and then fetching the specific values from that. Okay, let's look into one example. So I want the mean concentrations for NO2 and PM 2.5 in each of the stations in table form. Okay, so let's take air. Okay, AQLDF, a data frame. Let me directly apply the pivot table. So in the pivot table, I need to give arguments. Let's begin with the values argument. So in values argument, I'll give value, and the second argument is index. So what index I'm gonna go with is location. That's what, because that's what that's how we want to filter it. So index is going to be location on left side. Then we have columns, and in columns I want a parameter, because parameter can be parameter consists of two categories, that is NO2 and PM 2.05. So that's why I'm going for that. Now I will go for the aggregation, add function. So add function, I will give add function is mean. That's what we want, correct? Yep, all done. So let me close. Yeah, it's closed. Let me just execute and see. Yes, here it is, your pivot table. So on left side, as usual, the location, this is what we want as an index. You see that index is our location, and parameter is the columns, and in the parameter we want two categories, so that's the reason parameter as the columns. And then what we want is the mean of the concentrations, mean of the concentrations of these. That's it. You see that? We got the complete data. If you want it as a pictorial representation, here you can see. Here you see these are two categories, PM and NO2, and here you can see the locations, and in between you can see the concentrations which are aggregated to mean function. Got it? This is what our pivot table. So in this, in the case of pivot function, the data is only rearranged when multiple values need to be aggregated. The pivot table can be used providing an aggregation function. Example, we have used mean. Similarly, we can use a median too. Okay. More, let me use median. Yep, we got the median values, and you can use it anything, whatever you want, any summation or aggregation, uh, uh anything you can do. Okay. So aggregation function and how to combine these values. So pivot table is a well-known concept in a spreadsheet software. As I have told you before, when interested in the row or column margins, that's called the subtotals for each variable, then we have to set the margins parameter to true. If you want that, we have to set the margin parameters to true. So let me scroll down and take this. So I need to add one more argument. So let me add one more argument. It's margins. So I'm gonna make it's a boolean value, and let me execute it, and here is the all total of NO2, total of PM25, and on right side you see that this location total and this location total and this location total, and this is total of all these three. Clear? It's similar to whatever you do in the spreadsheet, but there it's a bit complicated. Here with one line of code you will get everything, but there it's a little intuitive, but here you have to use your brain more. You have to use your imagination. So what is going to happen? So that's the only difference here. Rest remains same. Okay.